So he was like, you know what I'm saying, how old you is? And I was like, I'm 21. And at this point, like, I don't really want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come off. I don't want no disrespect. I don't want to be rude. So I'm like answering his questions because like, you real pretty and this, that, and the he did ended up doing his rounds and he did end up tapping my bed. So I'm gonna tell y'all about the first time I got approached by an officer, a male officer in the Department of Corrections for relations. Okay, now this was when I first got to prison. This was the first time. It was by no means the last, not even close. I got approached so many times as all female inmates that look anything decent. I'm sure they can tell you the same exact thing. I wasn't special. Okay, that's just the culture in there. So, like I told y'all, when I first got to prison, I was scruffy looking. I ain't look like this at all. My lips was chapped as all out those. And I seen a comment somebody put on one of my videos, and I know they've been locked up because they was like, use butter. I learned that down the line. Okay. When I was in confinement and I ain't have no chapstick because they take your chapstick. After a while, I learned how to smuggle my chapstick in. But I had to use butter. Anything that was chapped, my legs and everything, I used to have to use butter on it. But this was before I knew the little tips and tricks. Okay, I was crusty. My hair, I always had long hair, but it was natural back then. So it was very much like, y'all know how the little strayaways have you looking homeless all around the sides. And no matter how much you brush, if you don't lay it down with no gel or nothing, it just keep on flying away, make you look all kind of scruffy, no matter how much you brush your hair. So my hair was nappy. My lips was chapped. My skin was dry because I ain't had lotions. My clothes was big. My whites was dingy because I ain't really care too much about it. I ain't have bleach. I ain't know how to play prison when I first got to prison. Okay. So I looked like a 12-year-old little girl, honestly, because I was this big. Right now, I'm like 160 pounds right now. When I got arrested, I was 125. So I was this big. Okay. I ain't never had a chest. I always had a little, you know what I'm saying, a little sun back there. But I ain't had no chest. So I was this big with big clothes on. So I looked 12 years old. So why this man was interested in me, still to this day, I don't know. So I was, very quiet because I didn't know what was going on in prison. This was when I was in the dorm with the lady who let me smoke the cigarettes. The lady who knew my mama. I was in this dorm. It was November. So I guess because, like I said in the other video, November was a dorm with older people, right? It was a lot of older people in November. It wasn't a lot of like young, 20s, 30s. It wasn't a lot of them in that dorm. And most officers, they're assigned to a dorm. Now, you can go work any dorm, but for the most part, you work in the same dorm over and over until you get rotated to another dorm. But for the most part, you get the same officers. So it was his officer. It was a black man. He was like real tall, and he was kind of like my color. He had some big lips, and he used to like wear his pants. They weren't tight, but he used to try to show off his shape. Okay, he used to try to show off his shape, and honestly, I believe he put stuff in his clothes because it was ridiculous. But every time he used to walk and do his rounds, like he used to walk like this. And he used to lick his lips, you know what I'm saying? And just like try to walk with so much swag. And he was very quiet, but he would only stop and talk to the younger girls. Like he wouldn't necessarily stop at the older ladies' bunks. It was always somebody that was young. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's gonna stop at the younger. That's anywhere in life. He gonna want to talk to the younger, fresh fish, the younger women. That's just how men are. But you see, prison when it comes to these COs, temptation is a whole different thing. They made movies about this. They got Orange is the New Black about male prison guards taking advantage, and female prison guards take advantage too. So you typically have it on both spectrums. On the female side, it always tends to be BBWs or like rejects that really society dudes ain't messing with. So of course, if a man is inside, he gonna just like the female COs, they're gonna try to provide. Say, I could do this for you. I could give you extra this. I can bring this to you, this, that, and the third. And for some women, especially when it comes to beauty products, they all for it, man. But let's get back to it though.
saying? So in prison, you have random locker searches. Like every shift, an officer's supposed to do so many searches to so many people before their shift is over with. So it's normally like after they'll randomly come in after count time, and they come to do their searches because they have a clipboard and they have a trash bag. One of the little small little clip bags, baby. Those is 2 flags that will get everybody up to run to the bathroom, to go take a shower, to go get on the phone, to go hide anywhere, go watch TV. When you see that clipboard in that trash bag, honey, you get missing. Okay, I was new. I ain't know what the hell a clipboard in a trash bag meant. I knew I used to always see people scatter. So I'm just sitting on my bed. I think I was writing something. So he stopped at, a few beds, and then he came to my bed. So like I was real like nervous. I ain't gonna say I was scared, but I was always nervous. I've never been a officer fan. Okay. I was raised in the hood. I was never an officer fan. So now that I'm in prison and I don't have no security net, it's just your word against mine, and my word is not even a word.
Right.
So I was always nervous when the police used to come talk to me. And he came, he was like, open up your locker. So I'm like, okay. So I get down, I open up my locker. So now my heart beating. I know it ain't nothing in there. I ain't been here long enough to know what contraband is. I ain't been here long enough to know what I can get away with and what I can't. So my heart beating like this because I'm like, oh Lord, like what if I got something I ain't supposed to have? Right. And looking back, girl, you ain't have nothing worth nothing. Okay. You ain't got nothing you ain't supposed to have. You ain't even got the stuff you're supposed to have. Okay. So I open my locker and he like looking through my locker and everything. And so he's like, how old you is? So like, I was kind of like thrown off by the question because it's like, ain't no officer asked me that. You know what I'm saying? This is really the first time somebody interacted with me besides yelling at me, screaming at me, or telling me I'm doing something wrong. So when I first got to prison, I was 21. So he was like, you know what I'm saying? How old you is? And I was like, I'm 21. And he was like, oh, you're a little young, you know what I'm saying, to be in prison. This, that, and third, like right. Babies that are in prison, like teenagers. So he was like, you're a little young to be in prison. And I'm like, well, the judge didn't feel that way. No, I was like, I wish the judge would have felt like that. And then he was like, where you from? So he went to ask me like where I was from. And at this point, like, I don't really want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come off. I don't want no disrespect. I don't want to be rude. So I'm like answering his questions because even though it was making me feel like a little weird or whatever, I was still answering his questions because I ain't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke, Mr. Officer. So I was telling him where I'm from. And then like he was asking me what I was locked up for. And so I'm like answering his questions. And then he was nice. So I was like, okay, he ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Top flight security, so I'm like, okay, cool, if that's a such thing. So I'm like, all right, he all right. So like he talking, so I'm talking to him or whatever, and he was like, you real pretty and this, that, and the third. And he was like, went to talking about my shape, and he was like, the way I walk. People have always told me I had a stink walk since I was this big, and now that I got a little weight on me, they tell me the same thing. So he was like, you got a little stink walk. So now that's sending flags in my head when he started talking about my shape and all of this and how I look, because it's like, you ain't supposed to be doing that, sir. Like, right. Why is you watching me? Like, right. How you know me and how I walk? Like, I should be an inmate in a number. You shouldn't be able to tell the difference between none of us.
Well, baby, he's still a man at the end of the day. And he been probably working there for a while. He's probably clapped numerous cheeks up in there. And some women, if you get a few perks and privileges, they all for it. So, of course, he's a man at the end of the day. He's watching you. Ladies, for any of you who ever think, men are always looking at you. Men are always taking a glance, see what you're working with, just scoping you out and undressing you at the same time and putting you in every single position that you could think of in his mind. But yeah, let's see where this goes.
But it's like, so I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm starting to get uncomfortable or whatever. And he was like, how long you been to prison? So like, I'm telling him how long I've been to prison, and I'm getting uncomfortable. He studied, like, I ain't got that much stuff, so it shouldn't take you that long to search my locker. And then, so while he's talking, he was like, you gonna be up tonight? And I was like, huh? Like, I was kind of thrown out, like, what you mean, am I gonna be up tonight? So I was like, I mean, probably, like, I don't know. So he was like, I'm gonna tap your bed. So I was like, where I got to go, like what I'm doing. And he was like, I'm gonna tap your bed, so I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt a little iffy, but see, now I'm scared because I feel like I know what you're talking about, but it's not gonna go down how you think it's gonna go down. So it's like, am I gonna get in trouble? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, you gonna try to hurt me,
Right.
allow me? Like, what's gonna happen? Because you might want sexual advances, but I'm not finna sexually advance. So I talked to the lady that knew my mama, like after he got done searching my locker. So I waited till he was like out and he couldn't see me or whatever. So I went and talked to her and I was like telling her like what happened. And she was like, oh, he do that all the time. He was like, and she called him like, you know, all kind of explicit things. She was like, he real nasty. She said he tried to do that with all the little girls or whatever. And then he was pointing to some other white girl and he was like, he used to mess around with her and all this other stuff like that. And she was like, when he tapped your bed, she was like, you better not move. She was like, you better not get up and you better not move. And she was like, you better not go to nail for you and do nothing for this man. So I'm like, wait a minute, what did you talk about? She was like, yeah, because when he tapped your bed, he gonna want you to come in the foyer. And I was like, what? And I was like, but what? I was like, so I went to ask her a question. So I was like, if he want me to go in there and I don't go in there, I was like, what's gonna happen to me? Like, is something gonna happen to me? She was like, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. She was like, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. She was like, all he wants you to do is go in there and, you know what I'm saying, do whatever, you know what I'm saying. And she was like, but ain't nothing gonna happen to you if he tap on your bed and you don't go. And she said, and if he do try to do something, she said, make sure you tell them to roll them cameras back and tell them how he was over here searching your locker and all the stuff that he said. And when he tapped on your bed, she said, make sure you remember all the times. So I'm like, remember all the time? She was like, yep, go write them down. So I'm like, what I write down? Like, now I'm scared because I'm like, oh my God. But he did ended up doing his rounds and he did end up tapping my bed and I did lay there like I was asleep. I'm talking about, you ever tried? You remember when you was a kid and then you up and you ain't supposed to be up and your parents say you go to sleep, so you be trying so hard when they come in that like you sleep. You try so hard, you know it look like you trying. Like, that's how I was. But to the 10th degree, I was trying to lay definitely still. My I was like this. Like, I was in the casket pose. Everybody know that's the fakest sleep. Don't nobody sleep like that for real. I was in the casket pose like this with the blanket over my eyes. My heart was beating so hard. I swore that he could see it beating through the sheet. Like, I did not get up, but nothing happened. And I just thought it was going to happen. But over the years, like looking back, you need them dates, you need them times, you need all that, because if you get put on the investigation, you can always have them go rewind the cameras to that time and they can see everything that happens. Like, you have to document stuff. So if an officer ever tries to, like, because sometimes they'll try to tell on you to clear their behind, or if you don't, which I've had somebody almost put me under the investigation because I wouldn't. But if you don't document that stuff and show proof, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, this is when he tried to harass me. This is when this happened. This is when that happened. Da, 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 da. And they got a whole organization called PRIA. Yes, and it is very much serious. But that is the first time somebody tried to sexually assault me. And like, I didn't stay in that dorm too much longer. I got moved out. I was only in that dorm for like 2 months. So this was like probably like 3 weeks before I ended up switching dorms. And every time that man used to come in, like, I used to just go to bed. Like, I just used to go to bed, or I used to avoid him. I did not like making eye contact with him. I felt uncomfortable every time he came around. And he just eventually started finding other prey because, baby, this ain't it.
That's right.
This ain't no OnlyFans. I don't know what you thought this was, but this ain't how it's gonna go. All right. But y'all be easy until next time. Stay out of trouble. Do not go to prison. I might be laughing, but disclaimer, there is nothing interesting, fun, lit, turnt, no clout, ain't none of that in prison. I laugh because I can laugh now because I used to cry about it, but I'm laughing now because it's in my past and it makes me happy that it's in my past and not in my present. But don't, under no circumstances, watch my videos, any of them, and think I'm glorifying it or making it seem like it's fun, because it is the worst thing that ever happened to me. Okay. And it will be the worst thing that ever happens to you. So stay out of trouble, but y'all be easy. Hey, y'all, back with another video. You know the vibes.
Now, guys, that content creator right there is Rajiva the Ruler, or Java. I see it says it's spelled Rajiva the Ruler. She did a 10-year bid, guys, and I'm glad that she's keeping it positive. Women go through stuff like this a lot in prison. So just imagine, before there was cameras, they have all these things in place, but dudes will try it because women will go for it, just like out on the streets. Especially, you looked at as the police, and in prison, a high value man if you will, which this dude was doing, putting on for the ladies. And I guess that's something that's been working. He probably one of them old COs, man. But glad she didn't end up going down that route, going into the foyer and doing something strange for this dude, because that's definitely not the right way to start things off, man. But fellas, I always thought that men were weak, that take advantage of women that are in situations like that, or just take advantage of women. Now, when it comes to a place where like you're not a superior, you don't have position or authority over a woman, and a woman decides to do some stuff of her own will, that's different. But when you're in a position where you're actually imposing your authority on a woman and you're taking advantage of the situation, that's not cool, man. That's a sucker right there. But what can I say? You got politics, you got celebrities, you got entertainers, you got all types of dudes, and power is intoxicating. Money is intoxicating. Clout, all that stuff. Hey, let me know what you guys think about this video, though. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next videos. It's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. Let's run it up to 1 million. Quit playing with me. Peace.